At that time, again, this was the very end of 72, the beginning of 73. Prabhupada stayed about 5 weeks in Bombay at that time. And the devotees here, the sannyasis, Gargamuni, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, so many, they were busy making life members. This is how money was coming in at that time, a life membership program. And some of you remember it was 1,111 rupees, you would become a life member. And by doing that, you would get all of Prabhupada's books, all of Prabhupada's future books, and you would get to stay in any temple in the world. It was a very good deal. The only thing is, we weren't giving them anything. We were taking, we were taking the money, but they weren't getting the books. And letters were coming in from some of these Indian life members. They were complaining to Prabhupada, your disciples, they've come, they promised us so many things, and now they're not giving us. The books aren't there, and they wanted the books, of course. And so Prabhupada called a meeting. I remember one day at Mahadevi's flat, and he brought in his disciples. As I said, by this time I had already had malaria and jaundice. I wasn't so happy in India. So Prabhupada called this meeting and he said, what's going on? He said, there's all these life members, they're complaining. They're not getting anything. They're taking their money and you're not providing them with the books. He said, and they're complaining. He said, there's no bookkeeping. He said, do you have records of what's going on? He said, this is very important. He said, if we can't get this together here, he said, we may as well pack our bags and leave India. I had a big smile on my face. I thought, Prabhupada's going to pack up and leave India. Prabhupada sometimes would be very dramatic. He would make his point by saying these very startling things, but I was new with Prabhupada. I was only with him for a few months, and I thought, this is great, we're going to leave India. We'll just go back to America where everything is nice and clean and organized. But he was trying to impress upon him how serious it was. He says, we have to. He says, we must take care of things here. So here in Juhu, of course, for me, I always had a nice situation. It was one of the things, being with Srila Prabhupada, as Prabhupada would say, when you're a servant of the king, you live just like the king. So I was always taken care of very nicely while I was with Srila Prabhupada. One of the things I remember, we would get ourselves, we're always getting into trouble, Prabhupada's entourage, and also we would take pleasure, it would seem, when Prabhupada would call us sometimes onto the carpet. I remember it was here in Juhu. I said the beach was very nice back then in 74. And at that time, Paramahamsa was Prabhupada's secretary. And Prabhupada would take lunch and take a short nap. So during that time, we all started going to the beach. And we would sit on the beach and go in the water, take bath before lunch. Well, within a few days, Nitai dropped out, said he had too much work to do. And then Paramahamsa, who was a secretary, said he had to catch up on his letters, typing the letters. So I continued to go to the beach every day. And I came back one day and Paramahamsa came up to me and he said, Prabhupada wants to see you, and he's really mad. This was like, this was always going on. Prabhupada was really mad. He was always really mad at, we were always doing something wrong. So he said he heard you're going to the beach all by yourself, and he's upset. So Prabhupada took lunch. So I was very nervous. I waited for him to finish lunch, and then I went in to his room for the obeisances, and I looked up. I said, Prabhupada, did you want to see me? And he looked at me and he said, no. I said, Paramahamsa said that you wanted to see me? And he said, no. I said, Maharaj said that you were angry with me because I'm going to the beach. He said, oh, you're going to the beach? I said, yes, Prabhupada. He said, are you going alone? I said, yes, Prabhupada. He said, oh. He said, you having a good time? I said, yes, Prabhupada, it's nice to go, go in the water. He said, yes, the beach is very nice here. He said, this beach is very good. He said, you should go. He said, it's okay, you go. I said, okay, Prabhupada. I never went to the beach again after that day. As I said, with me, he took a different approach. Prabhupada yelled at me on a few occasions, and he could see that I just become totally devastated. So this was his approach now, is to just say everything was okay and then allow me to do the right thing, already knowing that he didn't want me to do it because Paramahamsa, is that story, is it? You would know, right? It's like what they say, the Bengali stepdaughter, you know? When the family, they want to yell at her, they yell at their own daughter, and she hears, you know? So Prabhupada would yell at me, but he wouldn't yell at me. He would tell them, and then when I would go in, he would say, no, everything is fine. You do, it's okay. But I would get the message, so yeah, I stopped going to the beach at that time.